Hey guys, long time no see. I know it's been quite a while since I last posted a video, so I hope you've all been doing really well, and thank you so much for clicking on this video today. I do want to get into posting more on YouTube again, so that is coming. Please stay tuned, but do bear with me whilst I find my rhythm. I haven't done this in quite a while, so I may be a little bit rusty. I thought I'd make this video today about Tesla because obviously it has been a very turbulent time recently, in the last few months especially. The first thing I will say is, although lots of people in the comments seem to think that I've sold everything and I've ran away and times have got a little bit tough, I actually haven't sold a single share. In fact, I haven't sold a single share of Tesla in the entire time that I've been an investor. In the background, I've actually been purchasing more shares, especially when the stock price has gone down, which again has happened a lot recently. And then you get to the point where you're actually running out of cash and you want to be buying, and that's an annoying position to be in. So you need to manage the cash. Anyway, different conversation for a different day. But I've also been focusing on building up two other positions in my portfolio that I have. So not Tesla, but two other ones. But yeah, I've been building up those and adding to Tesla and other positions whilst they've been falling. So no doubt it's been a really challenging few months for Tesla investors. I mean, some people have been in the stock, decades, many years. And those people are probably finding it a breeze right now. For others that began investing into Tesla maybe last year or a few months ago, this is probably extremely volatile and definitely plays with the emotions a little bit. I think year to date, Tesla stock is down about 40%, maybe 38% when I last looked. And I'll give my thoughts on the reasons that have caused that in just a minute. I'm sure you already know a lot of those reasons. But also we need to remember, we can't forget that actually when you zoom out and you look at Tesla stock over longer periods of time, it's a very different story. People are so quick to slam how poorly Tesla's been performing recently, but look, when you zoom out to a 5-year period, apart from Nvidia, it has outperformed the entire Magnificent 7 and the S&P 500 index. It's actually up by about 650% on a 5-year time frame. And then when you zoom out to 10 years, the same thing is true. Tesla has outperformed all the other Magnificent 7 companies apart from Nvidia. Nvidia has done fantastic things, of course. Nvidia's just skyrocketed for good reason as well. Different video again. So 10 years, Tesla's up about 1,800%, which is absolutely crazy. Insane. That's enough to change people's lives, and it has. And I think the best is actually still yet to come, which is a really bold thing and maybe a crazy thing to be sitting here saying now when we're in the current period of time that we're in with Tesla and with the market in general, which we'll touch on in a minute. And the reasons that I say that and the reasons I still think this is the same core reasons that I've kind of always had, the same thesis that I've always had with Tesla. And I'll just name a few. We've got a new product line that has already started, and that's evolving, that's developing as we speak. We've got a shift happening. A really important thing to mention is this shift happening towards Tesla having higher margin business operations. This at the moment is powered by the energy business, of course, software, services, but soon we will be adding on the robotaxi fleet and Optimus in the future as well. Another reason is Tesla's ability to disrupt entire markets that are currently well established. They've done that with the car market, of course, the vehicle automotive market, but they're doing it again. They're doing it again, and also they are creating entirely new markets that just haven't existed before. That's an insane thing to think about and an insane thing to actually be able to do. There's not many companies can do that. And then they're completely unmatched in terms of their vertical integration and their ability to scale. And that vertical integration has been absolutely so key on being almost a defense mechanism to some of the things that have been happening recently. Sorry about that. I had a cat trying to get out of the room, so I've let the cat out and I'm back. The next thing I wanted to say is that it has been a little bit of a frustrating time in the last 4-ish or so years, because of course the stock has pretty much traded sideways for about, like I said, 4 years. Now, this doesn't mean it's gone like that. It's had, ups and downs in between, but it's pretty much in the same place now as it was 4 years ago. But there have been so many things, so many fantastic things that have happened to the business itself in those 4 years. So although the stock price hasn't changed, we've had developments with energy, FSD, artificial intelligence, everything that comes with that, Optimus. it's really been anything but stagnant, although the stock price doesn't really reflect that. So yeah, I still think the best is very much yet to come. However, like I said, it's not been easy, and I don't think it will be easy for a little while longer either. But I've spoken to lots of Tesla investors in the past who have been invested into Tesla way, way longer than I have. And a lot of them guys always mention, they always reference the fact that in the past it's been very, very challenging. Thinking back to the time when Tesla was almost bankrupt, these are times that Tesla has had to overcome in the past, and they absolutely have. And they've gone on to, in terms of stock price only, the business has got fundamentally stronger as well. But the stock price has gone on to recover and then some, and then some. And, I think this too will pass with everything that's going on at the moment, and I have confidence in that. I could be completely wrong, of course. This is just my opinion, not financial advice. But if you're someone that is, wanting more stability, you want less volatility, you don't want to have to open your portfolio and see those big daily percentage losses that do happen in companies like Tesla, but there are other companies. There are other options out there. There are many, many great examples of companies that will give you more stability. But Tesla has never been one of them. So if you're expecting that, I think you might be in the wrong stock, Anyway, I guess some of the really big reasons that have caused this sell-off that we've been seeing include, number one, Elon's political involvement. Whichever side of the fence you sit on when it comes to politics, whatever your opinion is on Elon getting involved in the Department of Government Efficiency, DOGE, which is actually a fantastic name, a fantastic acronym when you think about it, you can't deny that it has caused some disagreements. It's caused some disagreements between Tesla investors. It's caused some disagreements between potential buyers. Some people now don't want to purchase a Tesla vehicle because of it. But actually, I also did read that it isn't really affecting that too much. So I don't know, the numbers will speak for themselves, but I do think that will all blow over. But at the moment, it is definitely somewhat of a difficult subject, I would say. However, personally, I do think it is completely unacceptable to go around vandalizing someone else's vehicle because you don't agree that Elon should be involved in the government, or you don't, you have a different political view to someone that may own that Tesla vehicle. I do think that's unacceptable. And I just mentioned the fact that some Tesla investors will even have a different opinion on his political involvement. Some will actually say that his involvement is critical and important and fantastic for the country, and that goes above anything else. They think that's more important than anything else right now. Others will actually say that the credibility that comes with his current position will really help in aiding and pushing forward some of the Tesla developments that are happening. We are on the cusp of very, very innovative technology that, like I said, is changing markets, products and services that have never come before, cars that are driving themselves, for example, humanoid robots that eventually one day will be within homes. All of that is very difficult, politically speaking, regulation speaking, and could his position maybe help that? That's what some people are saying. And then there's other Tesla investors that actually say, I wish he would step back, spend his time on the businesses because it's taking time away from him and it's damaging the brand. So different people definitely have different opinions with this. Either way, it's definitely affected the stock price in the short term. Number two, we've obviously recently had the delivery numbers come out, and they came in lower than expected, or lower than analysts expected anyway. Now, clearly, you look at the numbers, you just see the numbers in front of you, you compare them to previous numbers, delivery numbers that have come out, and they weren't the strongest. I can't sit here and tell you that they were fantastic numbers, but what I can say is that a lot of people are missing the context in which these numbers need to be thought of within. So firstly, you've got to remember that the new Model Y vehicle is ramping up across 4 factories. This has affected the numbers. But obviously, when the media reports this, you often don't hear about that context, and all you hear is that there's no demand and everything is just awful. Number two is we had China sales numbers come in, and actually these were really, really good. Number three, the energy portion of Tesla's business was up 157% year over year. 157. That's wild, and that's really, really, really strong. And I'm not hearing much about that whatsoever. And I think that's really important because number one, they are expecting themselves, and we've been seeing this, the energy business is growing at a lot faster pace than maybe what people are anticipating and what the automotive section has been. And don't forget, the energy business has a way higher gross margin than just selling cars. So it's really, really positive. And again, I've not really heard anyone speak about this. And the last thing I just want to give context-wise is personally, and you can disagree with this or not, personally, I don't think the sale of vehicles is Tesla's future. I think Tesla's future, when we think about the stock price, when we think about what they're actually selling, where they're drawing money in from, I think it very, very much sits in the autonomous vehicle fleet, the robotaxi, and then Optimus. I think energy is fantastic. I don't think that's going to be the biggest thing either, but especially not just on how many cars they sold in the quarter. I think that's a very small way to look at it, but of course it's important to look at what's happening in the business that's making the most money right now as well. But I'm just saying, I do think those pieces of context are important. So the third reason that Tesla's been going down, actually, this one's a little bit of a more complex one, because initially this one actually made the stock price jump up, I believe, if I remember rightly, compared to other automotive companies. And what this was is that we saw President Trump put a 25% tariff on all cars not made in the US. Now, whilst this does affect Tesla, and I think Elon actually put out a post on X saying that this does indeed affect Tesla, it does so very, very marginally compared to literally any other company selling vehicles in the US, like extremely a little amount compared to the likes of Ford, GM, and that's just because of how Tesla has very, very smartly set up their business. They've done so that there is domestic production, there is limited import exposure, and they have supply chain localization. All those things are basically an armor against those tariffs. So they do affect them, but not as much as other companies are being hit hard, and that did reflect in stock prices. I think we saw like GM plummet and Tesla go up slightly on that day. But when it comes to cars, Tesla vehicles being sold in the US, they are the most American-made vehicles that exist, of any brand. And then the final reason is the reciprocal tariffs that have literally just happened. I mean, just days ago. And this is not Tesla specific by any means. Like, if you have checked your portfolio in the last however many hours, 72 hours, 48 hours, whatever it's been, you'll know. But to me, this is clearly narrative driven. This sell-off is not happening due to fundamental problems. The companies that I'm investing into are not suddenly getting any less profitable, are not suddenly making more mistakes than before, or anything like that. Tesla, talking about Tesla, they didn't stop innovating. The demand for AI, for energy, all these other things hasn't just plummeted off a cliff, although some people might think it is. What I'm trying to say is it's very narrative driven. It's not based on companies' fundamentals. There are still incredibly strong, incredibly innovative, the best companies out there that are being sold off at a high alarming rate. Anyway, we find ourselves in an interesting situation in the wider market right now. The VIX is extremely high. No doubt the market hates uncertainty. In fact, I read something that said something like in the last 35 years, this is only the 10th time in that whole time period that the VIX has been this high. We've had the fear greed index sitting at a 4, which is crazy. I think the last time it went below a 4 was during COVID when it hit a 2. But anyway, 4 is extremely low. That doesn't happen very, very often. We've had trillions of dollars wiped off, and we've had the likes of JP Morgan and others say that we should soon be expecting a recession. So naturally, you're looking at all this, you're looking at all these inputs, and you're thinking, oh my days, what if this time is different? But that exact question is a question that everyone asks themselves at every single market crash, at every single market sell-off. I know I did, especially for the COVID crash. I was saying, okay, well, I've never seen a global pandemic in my investing career before, in my investing journey before. So of course, this time might be different. What should I do? Should I sell everything? What if this time is different? I don't even want to give a thought to that. And that is because I am choosing to stick to what I can control. I can't control if there is going to be more tariffs. I can't control if there's going to be a recession. I can't control if, there's going to be rate cuts or anything like that. All I can control is what I'm doing with my money and how I'm thinking about the situation. And I'm picking to focus on the long term. And at any given market crash, if you look at when that's happened and you zoom out, you will notice that the market in the long term looks okay. It tends to recover and it tends to make new all-time highs. And that's what I'm choosing to focus on. I don't know what's going to happen in the short and mid-term, but over a very, very long time period, if you're someone that has a long time period, you know, again, just personal opinion, I think it's going to be okay. And then just to counteract what I've just said about, you know, there's a lot of negativity, I've also seen people say that this is going to be a very difficult period, but this is then going to be met with a 2026 that is a very, very strong bull market. So who do you believe? I don't know what's going to happen. Could we see a recession? Maybe. Could we see the biggest bull market that we've ever seen? Maybe. Either way, I do think there's going to be, you know, a bit more pain for a little bit longer. I don't know how long that's going to last. I don't know. I can't see into the future. But I do also think that quite often pain in the market does mean that there are opportunities out there, and we may see in a few years' time that people that bought at these prices right now are doing very well. We could see that that's going to take a much longer time period to see that switch. Who knows? But like I said, I'm focusing on what I can control, and also I'm focusing for Tesla specifically. It's now April, very early on in April. We'll be in June before we know it. Time is passing very, very quickly. And June, of course, is very important for Tesla in terms of the commercial launch starting for Robotaxi in Austin, Texas. That could be the signal to the market and to analysts and everything that people are waiting for to show that this is a serious business proposition. And, you know, it might start opening up people's eyes as to what's actually happening in terms of autonomous vehicles. I have been a little bit absent on here. I am planning to come back. This is my first video. I'll keep going. But whilst I've been a bit absent on here, I have been regularly posting over on Patreon and on Discord. So if you want to check that out, links in the description. Go and have a look. There's loads of things over there. I'm ramping that up as well. So yeah, let me know if you want any particular topics or points covered in the next video. I promise you, you're hearing it here. I won't leave it as long. Next week I'll be back. Thank you for being here. This feels weird. How do I wrap a video up now? I'll see you very soon.